Welcome to the Marketing Chairside Podcast by Pro Impressions Marketing, where the team covers a variety of dental marketing ideas to help you attract more new patients in the quantity and quality you need to grow your practice.
Hey there, welcome to the Marketing Chairside Podcast. We are talking today about making you look as awesome as you are through a great brand and what you do to make that brand work for you. And joining me today is producer Aaron Gravit of Product 13. Hey there, Aaron.
Hey.
This has been on my mind. It's been on the internet's mind for quite some time. All the pundits in especially digital marketing, the SEO experts have been talking about how the best marketing strategy you can have right now is to be great at what you do, to have, like John Mueller of Google was asked recently what the number one local ranking factor was, and he responded, awesomeness. Just that's it. And actually, that was like 2 years ago now, I think. And so as we're talking about branding, I just want to lead off with that. You've got to be awesome because that's what people expect.
The core foundation of branding is the same, but times have changed. I mean, the pandemic kind of threw everybody for a loop because the way we do things have completely changed. We're more digital than we were before. Traditional ways of advertising they're still there and you can still use them depending on your market, but you can get more, your ROI is higher now through digital because most people are on their cell phones and they're consuming content, and it's just something that, it changes over time. And of course the pandemic hit people differently. So some businesses stayed, some businesses got lost, and some people are just trying to catch up and get back out there. But the one thing with the brand is if it's a strong brand, and often people don't know what the brand is. They think it's just a logo, and it's not just a logo. It's a great start, but it's how the consumers see you. It has nothing to do with how you see yourself. So look at when Nike came out, for an example. I know that's a national brand, but the principle is still the same. Nike came out, I don't know how many years ago. I'm going to date myself. Was it 60, 70? I don't know when I have no idea when it came out. But they used to say their full name, Nike running shoes or athletics, or they had a whole name plus the swoosh. Now, because they've spent billions of dollars and decades later, now it's just the swoosh. You know exactly what it is. The brand's so strong, you know exactly what they're selling. If Nike today were to open up a hotel, you have an idea of exactly what that hotel is going to be like because of such a strong brand. Now, if Hilton decides to put out a shoe, you have no idea. Hilton is a name. It's not, you can say it's a brand, but it's not the same,
Yeah.
So you can see that you have no idea what a Hilton running shoe is going to look like, but you have an idea what a Nike hotel would look like.
Right. Because you've seen the shoe in the advertisements again and again and again. And I think that's both the blessing and the curse of the pandemic. I mean, I had a lot of offices greatly reduce their marketing budget, if not, pulled the plug completely. But the ones that didn't saw actually a fantastic year. They got great return on investment on their marketing during the pandemic. And then coming out of the pandemic, it was like throwing gasoline on the fire because then the restrictions were lifted and people's confidence started to go up. And it was analogous to that whole, decades long exposure to Nike. Why you understand it. People had seen those dental brands again and again in their markets, mm-hmm. and it was easier to trust them.
But even with Nike, it wasn't about the shoe. The shoe was irrelevant. It was the lifestyle. It was the image. It was how you made you feel. It was strong, powerful. It was, like athletics and inspiring, then there was the women, doing the jogging and doing that kind of stuff. There was athletics, a whole department just on that. And so you think in that direction. It's a lifestyle is what they were selling. The shoe was a byproduct. Like Red Bull is a marketing company that happens to sell the product Red Bull. It's not the other way around. So people don't know that. That's all they're doing is they're just a marketing company that created Red Bull. And you think sports, you think, skiing and like these really, people jumping out of helicopters and GoPros. You think about all this other stuff going on when you think of Red Bull.
Yeah. And that's why people put their stickers on their cars, put Red Bull stickers on their cars. Even it's not because they just think Red Bull's delicious. It's identifying themselves as those outgoing, adventurous people.
Can a brand be successful without advertising? The answer to that is, no. But can a business be successful without advertising? Yes. But can a brand be successful with advertising? Absolutely not. Think of McDonald's. They have fantastic branding, but we all know the food is horrible, especially 2 seconds after you eat it, because you get tricked. It's like, oh, I can go for those fries and that burger, and then like 3 seconds later after you eat, you're like, that wasn't a good idea. It's not food, right? But they have phenomenal branding. And they put a lot of money into it, so everybody's loving it one way or the other.
There you go. There's their new slogan. You're loving it, whether you like it or not.
They really should change it.
So in the dental world, you said something interesting that like marketers know this, but I don't think a lot of people think about it, that a business can have a logo, but that doesn't really mean they have a brand. And so you've worked with dentists before. And have come across a lot of dentists out in the wild. What is it that dentists typically have when they come to you? Do they have an established brand, or where would you say they are in that journey trying to establish themselves?
Often, no. Like they have a logo. They've been going at it based off reputation. The logo is often, let me start over again. The soda kind of kicked in. That was happening. Yeah, before we got on, Jonathan was like, let's stay clear of any kind of beverages beforehand so we don't have any of those moments. And yet I was drinking one of these beforehand, and it's kicking in now. So caffeine. Okay, what was the question?
Also, a lot of dentists who have been marketing themselves for a while have a logo, but would you say they have an established brand? And if not, like, where are they in that journey?
Most of the time, no. Can we move forward and build off what they have? Of course. And you can change the people's perspective on how they view them. But usually if you're going to go down that route and you really want to change things, you have to, that's the perfect time to do it. If you don't have the right mindset, you're not going to be able to get past whatever current brand you do have. And a lot of them just have generic brands at best. They either look like clip art, it's hard to read. The names aren't original or nothing that the people are going to remember, but they're informative maybe. So for an example, let me give you an example. This here was, I met Dr. Ryan Clancy, phenomenal dentist, great guy. I met him at LVI, and I don't even remember when. It was a few years ago, 2019, no, probably 2017. And we met, and he really needed to change his brand. He ended up buying a practice, or he was partners, and then he ended up owning the practice itself. And originally it was called Cosmetic and Aesthetic Dentistry. That says what they do, but it's not something you'd remember. It's generic. It's just straightforward. There's nothing wrong with it. It just doesn't have anything that separates them from anybody else. And so as much as he wanted to create his own brand and branch away from what he was, he knew that he wasn't quite ready. He was still 2 years away, and he still needed to focus on the team, training, and being able to move out of the location they were at into a new one so they can launch something that's theirs and something that they can give to the community that represents their that represents what they're doing in the market currently. So we hit the ground running, and when he was ready, we started with the logo, we started with the name, we started with research, and it was originally in cosmetic and aesthetic dentistry. And we shot some video, we did a whole bunch of stuff, and we built content around the current brand. And then when they made the move and they had the new place all finished and ready to go, once it was done and people were in, that's when we switched. Then that's when we swapped the logo to Divine Smiles. We did focus groups. We wanted something that was simple, that was easy to remember, that said everything in the name. It was clean. It can last the test of time. Cosmetic and aesthetic dentistry is every practice on the planet. You know, every time you go outside, it's some variation of that. But Divine Smiles, there's only, you know, there's them. They were, when you pick a name, you either want to pick a name or come up with a name that no one else has. And if you do have something that maybe another practice has, because what exceptional dentistry, how many exceptional dentistry practices are there?
Or advanced dentistry.
Or advanced dentistry, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. But you want to make sure that you're the only advanced dentistry in a 100-mile radius, you know, at least.
And you better showcase advanced stuff. I mean, the brand has to deliver on what you say. One of the things I like about Dr. Clancy's brand that you created is that Smiles is still there, because I think you can go too far in the Nike direction as a dental brand and have something that people have to like really try to figure out, what is this, you know? You and I work with offices that have like a spa-like feel, and or sometimes it can kind of feel like a plastic surgery office. But what I've noticed recently on Google especially is that Google is trying to deliver people dental offices that look like dental offices. And so my concern is I want to have an experience for patients that's like beyond expectation. That's great. But if they can't, if you have to figure out, wait, where did I land? Did I land at a plastic surgery office or a spa or a dental website? You know, it's got to be clear. I think a successful brand does that. Wouldn't you say?
I know. I totally agree with you. If you're not, if their website doesn't reflect the location that you're at, and it's got to be a wonderful experience online, it needs to be a wonderful experience in the office. If I feel like I'm at the ER, are you really creating an environment? If you're charging, I don't know, $30,000 or $50,000 or more for a full mouth restoration, you kind of want a better experience when you're at that. You want to be treated better. It's kind of like going to a 5-star restaurant or a 5-star hotel. You know, yeah, it's a lot of money, but what are they getting for it in return? If it feels generic, but I'm paying the exorbitant prices, and even if you bring the prices down so they're not so bad, why not give them a better experience? That just means they're going to talk more about you. That means you're going to get more or better reviews online that all impact your SEO and your ranking, and more people are going to see who you are. So your brand's not really going to go out there unless you focus on it. And it starts with, well, it starts with your mindset, but like for Divine Smiles, there were two other companies in the United States that had it. Nowhere close to Massachusetts, like way somewhere else. Their branding was really off. They did not have a clear message. They did not own the domain name Divine Smiles, and the reason why they didn't was because a broker had it, which means it was a lot. It was like 4 digits. It was like, I think it was like $5,000 or something. It was a lot of money because normally you would only pay like $10, $12 a year, and they were trying to sell it for really a lot, and that happens. Sometimes really good names require you to spend a little bit more to have, but then you have it.
Right.
And it was a choice for the doctor because we had another domain that was, didn't cost that much to do the marketing on, but you have to weigh the pros and cons. No one else bought it. So now he is Divine Smiles. No matter who goes to the United States, they're never going to go to the other dentists.
Right.
He will come up. Your name needs to match
Yep.
the practice. The website.
The more you
has
get
to
out of your way, I feel like the more every marketing dollar you invest is going to go farther. But the more confusion there is, the more excuses you have to make, the more of an uphill battle marketing and advertising is going to be. But let's say you're starting at ground zero, Aaron. I'm actually talking with a dentist. He's starting up. It happens to be a sleep only practice, but he has nothing, and wants to start this new office. Where would you say is the best starting point for developing a new brand?
He needs to have a conversation. He needs to have a brand evaluation, a strategy conversation. Someone, either myself or someone like me, would a brand specialist would travel to meet him. If he's got a team already, they need to talk to the team. If he's been working in any capacity, if he has the office already there, take a look at the facility, see what the competition is. But if he does not have a location, that's still required. I think it's highly recommended, because you can get a really good idea about what you have to do and the expectations around costs and how much time, a real perspective on how long some things take. And he can average that in and budget that in, because now you're looking long term, not the short term. You don't just go build an office. You scout locations. You try to find what's the best location for what are you trying to do to get, what kind of customers do you want? Are you going after the average guy? You want to give them, do you offer insurance? Do you not offer insurance? Do you want to be in a plaza, or do you want to be a standalone building where it's kind of like a destination on its own? Do you want foot traffic? Do you have plenty of parking? Does it have parking? Are they going to get a lot of fines, a lot of tickets? I mean, one thing with Clancy, he was in the basement. He had there was 3 stories, and he had to go down, and it was on Main Street, great location, but you had to deal with snow and ice because he was in Massachusetts, right? So the liability potential right there, and he was paying thousands of dollars in parking meter fines, because they would have to park far, far away, and then everything, Now he's in a location that's got parking. He's right across the street. He's in a plaza, but he's got a great, prominent location within the plaza, great signage, great visibility, so you can get walk-ins, but he's sharing a parking lot with Whole Foods. That's perfect, because that's the demo right there. The people going to Whole Foods gets to see this every single day. So, his footprint is a lot larger now, because he doesn't have, and it's cost less because he doesn't have to pay for all the fines, and he doesn't worry about the liability of slipping and falling because they have to go downstairs. So I think the first step is to have a conversation to see what the doctor wants to do, and then you put a marketing plan together, a strategy of finding a location, figuring out who your market, the demo market is, creating the original content, the marketing content you have to have, logo, identity system, your little goodie bag. Those are things that are important. Upgrading your goodie bag, if you're a current dentist and it's just those under $2 plastic things that are generic with crest and all that kind of stuff, that doesn't shout user experience. It's just you're doing the bare minimum. I mean, if you actually gave them a tote bag they can reuse, and all the products have your logo on it, and you're giving them something they can use, that goes very far. Imagine, instead of trying to sell them a water pick, upsell something that doesn't cost that much money, give it to them for free. Don't even bother. You're not going to make enough money anyway doing that. So
yeah.
Give them an electric toothbrush. Give them a water pick over time. So if they spend a certain amount of money, let's say they spend $30,000, who cares? Give them something for it.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much for being a wonderful patient. That speaks volumes. You know, you can have the tumblers and the special toothbrushes and all that kind of stuff too for the everyday type stuff. But you know, if you got a customer that's been there for a while, you know they're going on vacation. Hey, you know, we knew you were going to go out on vacation. Here's a little tote bag, or here's a little travel bag with extra stuff. They'll get to use it. It's got your brand all over it. People will see it, something to talk about. And all you did was build a stronger relationship with your patient.
But I think a lot of us end up getting it backwards in our minds. I think a lot of offices would hear the idea of thanking a patient who gives you a positive review by giving them a water pick as a great idea, when in reality, if they'd just been handing out the water picks like you're talking about, they'd probably get more reviews. And so it's like, by delivering that quality of service and excellence baked into what you do, everything's going to flow more smoothly. And it's just because you're meeting and exceeding those expectations by design with kind of an endpoint. It's like that Franklin Covey, I think, or quote, beginning with the end in mind, you know, or is that Stephen Covey? Dang it, I get them mixed up all the time. But the idea of like having a plan, I think that's what I heard you say, is like having a real world plan for the brand that goes beyond what are the words in my name and the little icon that's going to go with it. That's a logo. You know,
the doctors, they create a personalized dental plan, but they never take the time to put a personalized marketing plan on their brand. It's how do you want people to see you? And then we have to put that in play and then make sure people see you a certain way. But you have, at the end of the day, it's the market dictates who you are based off how you treat everybody. What you're delivering off of how you look is kind of, and the user experience is what they can feel right now. You know, the end product is the aftermath. You know, like I want to get out of, let's imagine if you couldn't eat or have a steak, you know, your favorite food because your teeth hurt. And guys are stubborn as hell and will go decades without going to the doctor, dentist. And once you get that, your smile fixed, the benefits, all of a sudden you get to eat a steak for the first time after like 2 decades. That's life changing. You want to capture that story because so many people can relate to it. No one really cares about whether it's a pinhole, you know, procedure or what the technical stuff is. There's nothing wrong with putting it out there on social media. But when you're trying to attract people, you want to connect on an emotional level, and having that conversation about building your brand and doing focus groups. If you just took 3 months, 2 to 3 months to work on making sure the name works, and then, oh, here's a name, but does it match the domain name? If so, all right, we're going in the right direction. If it doesn't, can we make it work? It's just looking past the immediate need, because you're not going to go build a building without thinking about it, without getting an architect, without getting an interior designer. You'd be surprised how many doctors do not do the interior design. They just get the architect, they build it, and then they just go with it. And I recommend interior designers. They really, really will change the user experience. Not just for you, though. Not just for the patients, but they're going to change the whole experience for the staff. You're creating an environment where people want to work.
It's huge. I mean, when you invest in making your team feel like they're part of something bigger than just drill them and fill them dentistry, I believe that the patient experiences that, the marketing is a natural extension of that quality of service, and it all stems from the vision of the dentist and knowing that they have a central idea to what they're representing every day in the practice and in the marketing, and it's just all got to flow from that message. I know that when we've implemented that at Pro Impressions, it was a huge game changer for us, because no longer did different people have kind of ideas of what we were doing, like, oh, we're building these beautiful websites, or no, we're doing this technical thing in SEO, or we've got this ad strategy or social media. It was no. Now we're helping dentists through trusted marketing that specializes in dental marketing and gets the dentist more ideal patients. That's the goal, and we have some key characteristics of how we do that. And everyone on my team is now informed on what that is. And once we started doing that, where you had a central point, it was like a focusing effect on everything we did, and it started to unify it and built momentum. And it's going better than ever. And if I hadn't said, okay, we need to get together on what it is we actually do, then I'm certain we wouldn't be growing like we are. And I think that dental practices need to do that same thing. And they need to be bold about making a lot of those changes now, rather than, okay, well, yeah, if we can just grow to this certain point, then I'll pull the trigger on that. I promise you'll be pushing it out farther and farther, trying to get to that end point where you finally feel comfortable investing in some of those big picture things, like the domain name change. I think that's a perfect example, because the longer you wait to make that change, the more painful it's going to be for Google and all your other marketing, etc.
Exactly. You got to look at it from a marketing standpoint and how easy people can find you. You want to be the Nike in the dental industry in your town, in your community. You can't be for the whole world. You can't be for the whole United States. Now, will you have patients fly to see you? Of course. There's always a possibility for that, because they like who you are. You've got a great brand. You've got great track record. Maybe you've built relationship. Maybe they're previous patients that moved, and maybe you're working in Texas, but you've got patients that moved to Florida and California, but they refuse to go anywhere else. They will fly to come see you. So part of the whole experience is you should have something set up where you're like, hey, we'll come take care of you. We'll continue to do something. We'll set you up. Let's say the practice owned a condo. We share a client down in Savannah that did the exact same thing. He had a condo that when any kind of guest or a patient that needed a lot of stuff done, that needed instead of flying back and forth because you had to have multiple treatments done over the course of like a week or two, he would put them up in his place, and that was just build part of into the service. So it was just it's an added bonus. It made people feel like you cared. It was just, I'm not saying everybody has to have a separate condo for this, but those little things, they go very, very far. Offering them just water and tea, coffee or soda even, or juice. You might think it's a counterproductive or counterintuitive because, well, we're at a dentist office. Why are you offering me sugar or, wine? Not everybody can do that. Every state's different. But they're going to go home and eat cookies and drink wine and do a whole bunch of stuff that's far worse. One day is not going to hurt anything. Plus, you're there for a cleaning or whatever. You want to create the experience that's fantastic for the patient. You want enjoyable. That
standout experience that makes them thankful that, or glad that they followed through on connecting with you in the first place. Have you ever heard of the rule of 20, or I guess it used to be the rule of 7, right, Aaron?
Yes, it used to be 7. It's 20 now, but yeah.
And maybe post-COVID, it's now the rule of 40, because you're constantly looking at your phone and marketing messages and all sorts of other messages are exposed. But the idea is that within the channels that you decide to invest in, you can't just be a one-off. I mean, like Nike didn't do that, right?
Not at all. And today, the average person looks at their phone 96 times a day, and they're on between 5 and 6 hours average. And they're just looking down just to check their phone 96 times. So social media is huge. You want to be on it. You want to invest time creating content, whether it's a video or an ad or just post or whatever it is that you're doing. You want a frequency. You need frequency. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. It doesn't matter what platform you're advertising on. If you don't have frequency, you're not going to get the desired results. You need patience for time, because longevity and being consistent, and frequency. In the 90s, you could put one TV commercial on and get a ton of calls, and then in the early 2000s, you're like, oh, how the info commercials, how many times did you watch an info commercial before you bought a Thigh Master or the Solo Flex? Because my mom has the Thigh Master. She bought the Thigh Master. We have one of those sitting around somewhere. I don't know. She bought a treadmill. I bought a Solo Flex. I even bought the Total Gym. But I honestly didn't buy it the first time I saw it. It takes quite a few times. By the seventh time was average is when we bought. Now, you better be posting or putting videos or ads and content like 20 times. And because most people in dentistry are not proactive, they're reactive. So yeah, they know they need to get their tooth fixed or this and that. Until it actually breaks, they're not really going to come see you. But if you're top of mind because they've seen your ad 20 times, I guarantee you they'll be ready and they'll know who to call because you did not stop marketing and posting daily or weekly or however you're going to be doing it.
Yep. It's like, so this rule of 20 dates back to a book from the 1800s. And in that book, they wrote out, the first time that they see your ad, they're totally unaware of it. And it just keeps going and keeps going until the final time that they see your ad, they buy what it is offering. And you can actually check that out on our website. I'll put a link in the description. But it's really important. And what's interesting is that post-COVID, with the evolution of marketing that we've talked about, I really feel like the interesting thing is a lot's changed and nothing has changed, because if you don't market yourself with this rule of 20 approach and thing in mind, you're missing the boat. Regardless of what medium you're using, you have to have that frequency, because it's just never going to be a one and done thing, which is why you have to market over time, you have to measure over time, you have to invest over time.
Correct. And with the use of cell phones, everybody's got a cell phone. Most people have cell phones, and most people have smartphones. And because everybody's on social media on some form, whether they got Facebook or they're definitely on YouTube, or Instagram or something, I guarantee you the staff, the team members, all have all of that. So why aren't you taking advantage of them posting something positive about their day on their social media, and then combining it with somebody from a marketing agency such as Pro Impressions or my own Product 13 for video? We can gather the bulk of the stuff, manage the stuff, and then your team fills in the holes, and we can help give them tools along the way. And so working together, we can keep that 20 rule going.
Yep.
Because your focus needs to be on the patients, not on, oh, what am I going to do today?
Yep.
So you got to have your team players involved so they can focus on that. And if you
the thing is, a lot of dentists hearing this are going to be like, well, that sounds like a giant pain in the butt. I don't know if I want to do that. If it were easy, then everyone would be doing it. And if that were the case, we wouldn't be recommending it. But it's not easy. It's a way for you to stand out, and that's what you want in a successful dental marketing campaign.
No, exactly. You want to stand out. You want to be consistent. And can you get new patients from social media? Of course. But social media is a way to secure your brand. It's a way to increase your SEO ranking. It's a way to keep giving your patients that service that you've been providing all along. It's a continuation of your brand. And then you create marketing ad campaigns on that, whether it be you can advertise on Hulu, you can advertise on any app, YouTube, you got Gmail, not Gmail, but YouTube, Google. So there's Google, so they own that, right? You can also advertise on Facebook, and Instagram and all the other ones. So there are paid advertisements to go along with it, but just keeping up with the organic stuff is where dentists often get overwhelmed. And so having key people manage that for you, find somebody in the office to be your kind of point of contact team up with someone like Jonathan, team up with someone like me. We all work together, put a plan together, and you just try to get ahead of the game, and you have a bunch of content sitting in a folder, you know, and if you're like a whole season ahead, it's not going to be daunting at all. You just pull, you plan, you time it out, you create a bunch of stuff so you can have holidays, you can take time off, you can get sick, something always comes up. So when you put the team together, doing all that just becomes so much easier, and then you can focus on being a dentist.
Well said. Well, if these types of tips have been helpful to you, I would encourage you, first of all, on whatever platform you're listening to or watching this, to subscribe, because we're always coming out with new episodes with ideas like this. You can also get dental marketing ideas sent to your inbox every single week. And Aaron's going to frantically look for buttons to hit that will show you how to do that. But if you're listening to it, go to proimpressionsgroup.com/blog. If you're watching, at some point there's going to be a QR code, I think, or something sexy.
You know, I've got to make some changes here. I think this is it. Is this it?
No, but that's a really cool social media calendar that you can get. But yeah, no, it's proimpressionsgroup.com/blog. And I'll put a link in the description as well, so that you can get to that. And then Aaron Gravit is, again, just an amazing producer who has made a lot of my clients look great on camera, produces fantastic video that helps you, present the brand that you have. And let's say you don't have a fantastic brand, like you did for Dr. Clancy in the Boston area. He can help you elevate your brand, change your brand, to the next step in the evolution. And it is a journey, but I would highly recommend you check him out at product13.com. Aaron, thanks for your time today.
You are welcome.
So thanks for joining us today on Marketing Chairside. Please subscribe to the channel to get these delivered to you, so you don't miss an episode. And again, you can check out our blog and subscribe to get those insights delivered straight to your inbox. That link is in the description. Until then, I wish you well. Take care. And by the way, did you know that being great is awesome? And when you're awesome, you're great. And you want to get eyes on your stuff. And that's what we do. So, yeah, give us a call. We'll do that marketing dance together, and it'll be less awkward than this. I promise. It's gonna be great.